going to start pretty soon. Don't need to turn off your
Okay.
screen. Okay.
Yeah. Might never get it back on again.
Yeah. So I'll say a few words to start.
Very good.
Good evening, everyone. 大家白天好，如果是在亚洲的话，是中午的时间。So today we don't have Reverend Hensher because he's traveling. Actually, I think he's on the plane to Australia. So we have Mr. Alan Nicholson, who with very short notice and agreed to share Dharma with us. Really appreciate it. 那今天施法是因为在飞机上，一直要到澳洲去，所以他没有办法来继续讲的十回向品。那果归居士他在很短的时间几天里头，请他来讲，他很爽快的就答应，所以非常感激他。So Alan is a senior disciple of the Venerable Master, and I think many people know him, and he's going to share with us his experience to transform body and mind. 果归居士他是上人的一个老弟子了，虽然年纪不是那么大，但是他今天要和大家来分享关于怎么样把身心转化。And he's going to speak until 8:30. Then from 8:30 to 9, it's going to be Dr. Jose Vega. That's one of the 6 teachers. He's going to be the first one. He's going to talk about generosity. 那接下来8点半的话是那个Jose Vega 博士，他是接下来有6个老师要大家分享他们的经验心得。他是第一位，他是要谈谈布施，所以我们就这样子。那时候 Alan, please start to speak. I will stop sharing, then people can see you.
Good.
Go ahead.
Well, good evening, everyone. Homage to Shakyamuni Buddha and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and the 3 periods of time.
Should I translate right now? Yeah, let me translate. Yeah. So 诸位晚安，诸佛菩萨，还有所有的十方三世法界一切诸佛菩萨，阿弥陀佛。
I would like to speak a little bit about how we transform our minds and our bodies by practicing the Buddha Dharma. When Shakyamuni Buddha became enlightened, the first sutra that he spoke was the Apatamsika Sutra. And he didn't speak it with his voice, but he spoke it with light. And only those of superior faculties could understand what was going on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the qualities of light and how light is a good transmitter of communication.
今天呢，我想跟诸位分享的，就是如何透过修行转换身跟心。我们释迦牟尼佛他刚证悟的时候，他所讲的第一部经典是《华严经》，但是呢，他不是用他的声音来说法，他是用他的光芒的光。所以呢，当时呢，必须要有很高根器的众生，才有机会能够听到，就是佛陀用光来说《华严经》。所以今天借着这个机会，我想跟诸位分享，就是光的特质，然后光也是一个非常能够传导讯息的一种媒介。阿弥陀佛。
In paintings, we see the Buddha radiating light. Some of the original artists probably saw the Buddha and tried to paint this vision. If you see the Buddha, it radiates a white light, sometimes called a five-colored light. This is white because it contains all the other infinite colors. It also contains information. It contains the nature of the Buddha, of infinite light and infinite life. Also, infinite compassion and infinite wisdom. The Avatamsaka Sutra describes many Buddhas and their distinct yet simultaneous characteristics. And the light that pervades their lands, in Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land and all Buddha lands, this light speaks the Dharma, which resonates in the consciousness of living beings. So light is a really good medium for communication, maybe even better than words. Translate.
像诸位可能有看到一些佛教的绘画，然后这些绘画的艺术家呢，他们可能说不定都有，就是有机会看到这样子的佛光，所以在佛陀的这样子类似的绘画上，你会看到佛就会放这种白光在他的身边，这种光芒。但是光当然不只是有白光，我们有看到就是也有这种五色光。像这样子的不同的光芒呢，它有带很多的信息，也就是佛性。像我们常说有无量寿、无量光，像这个光本身就有无量的寿跟无量的光芒，更有无量的智慧。因此佛陀用这样子的佛光，在同时呢，可以跟所有法界说法，直接传到众生的心，所以用佛光来说法，其实是一个最好的媒介物。阿弥陀佛。
A few months ago, I had a taste of this light, and I would like to try to explain this a little. I know some of you have also experienced this, and if any of you have any questions or comments that arise, I welcome anyone to ask. For those who have doubts about the Buddha's limitless light and limitless life, we should just consider that all the beautiful colors we can see with our eyes represent less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum. We also hear less than 1% of the acoustic spectrum. All this while our Earth is spinning in circles and traveling at over 490 miles an hour across the galaxy. And this is only the material world, not the world beyond the limits of ordinary experience, and not the state of the Buddha. So as living beings, we have a very small window of perception. Amitofo.
像在几个月前，我有这个机会，就是尝到了，就看到了类似这样子佛光的一个经验，所以借此想跟诸位分享。如果诸位呢，您也有这样子的类似的经验，就欢迎在稍后我们可以来提问题，互相讨论都可以。像这样子的光，它就是充满着无量的寿命、无量的光芒。像我们都知道，我们一般的众生，我们能够看到光谱，我们只看到不到1%所有光的这种光谱。我们对声音的接受度，它的声音的声波，它的声频也是非常的局限，也是大概不到1%。所以光是以此快的速度来进行、来传输。所以呢，像这样子的一个能量或能力呢，也不是说是只有佛才有，其实众生我们也有这样子的佛性。阿弥陀佛。
Buddhists know that there are 10 different Dharma realms with uncountable different beings in each category. All communication between living beings requires the exchange of information. And I want to talk about the many forms of this communication. It's well known that even plants can sense one another's biochemical messages and routinely share information to benefit one another. From this, we must open our minds to consider the transmission of Buddha's and Bodhisattva's teachings not only possible, but a certainty. 阿弥陀佛。
像我们知道有十法界，有这么多的无量无数的众生在十法界，所以最重要就是如何来沟通呢？在这么多不同的众生，这么多的法界，是有不同沟通的形式。我想跟诸位分享，像譬如连植物界呢，他们都能够用一些生物化学所投射出来的一些信息，植物跟植物之间也甚至于能够沟通分享信息。所以呢，我们必须要打开我们的心，然后这样子才能够接受佛陀的教导。阿弥陀佛。
I think many of you have heard the story about how the Venerable Master taught me how to use the Great Compassion Mantra to clear cancer from my father's body and prolong his life. So I won't go into this story, but the point is that there are many ways to communicate and many indescribable and miraculous results if one cultivates the Buddha Dharma with a sincere and single mind. 阿弥陀佛。
像诸位可能有听到我之前分享的故事，就是上人他教导我要用大悲咒来帮助治疗我父亲的癌症，所以这个故事呢，可能诸位都有听过，都知道。所以我想跟诸位分享，就是说我们只要能够发心修行，虔诚的修行，我们都有这种各种不同的方式可以来做沟通。
I myself have had cancer 2 different times in this life. Once about 12 years ago, and once about 2 years ago. Both times I was treated with radiation, and both times the cancer became undetectable. Having a body that undergoes pain and sickness has been one of the best things that ever happened to me. Why is this? We could translate this.
像在我这一辈子的人生，我有得过癌症有2次这种炎症就癌症。第一次呢是在12年以前，第二次是在2年以前。在这2次的治疗，我都是用放射线的治疗方式，然后我的癌细胞就是能够有效的缩小控制到察觉不出来。但是整个治疗的过程呢是充满着痛，可是因为这个痛，我感受这个痛 成为我最好的一个教导，我最好的老师。阿弥陀佛。
When they treat a body for cancer, they try and take it as close as they can to death and hope that the body will figure out how to restore itself. One thing that I learned during this process of treatment for cancer was that this body is not who I am. The body is just a temporary dwelling, a bag of flesh to carry around with us. It is only a manifestation of our past causes and conditions. Illness, disease, misfortune, not to mention good fortune, are just causes and effect. Our true body has no bounds and moves from one life to the next, depending on our karma and our intent. Our physical body is subject to birth, old age, sickness, and death. Our original nature is without any birth or death. 阿弥陀佛。
在治疗癌症的过程之中呢，它就是把我们的身体，把它逼到一个濒临死亡的阶段。在身体呢濒临死亡，它会反扑，它会用另外一种方式来努力的继续生存下去。所以它是用这样子一种概念来做癌症的治疗，然后让身体能够自我的恢复。所以在这治疗的过程之中，我了解到这个身体它其实并不是我，它只是一个暂时的各种因缘合合而成的一种现象。各种因缘业果当然有好的因果，有坏的因果。我们在这一生生活生命结束之后，然后投生到下一生，只是这种暂时的现象。然后我们都会经过这种生老病死，但是呢，我们真正的佛性其实是无生无死的。阿弥陀佛。
The most recent cancer treatment destroyed some critical tissue in my internal organs. For over a year, my inner organs were failing, causing extreme pain and constant internal uncontrollable bleeding. And I was also becoming dangerously anemic. The radiation had destroyed much of the living tissue in my body and turned it into scar tissue with open bleeding sores. At one point, I spent 2 hours every day in a pressurized oxygen chamber for 2.5 months. My surgeon told me several times that I would most likely have to live with these internal problems for the rest of my life. 阿弥陀佛。
在治疗过程之中呢，我的内部的一些器官的一些组织呢受到损害，所以造成我内部器官会流血。像这种内部器官的流血的情况呢，延续了很长的一段时间。我甚至有点类似像是那种白血病的情况，就是伤口没有办法复原，然后会不断的就是流血。所以在有将近2个月的时间，我都会花2个小时的时间在医院里面接受氧气舱的治疗，然后这种情况呢持续了2个月之久，就是治疗我这种内部器官失血的这种情况。然后医疗人员呢当时跟我讲，我未来的这辈子呢可能都必须要照这种方式来继续生活下去，我可能都没有办法能够复原。阿弥陀佛。
For over a year, many doctors were not able to heal this. I tried traditional Western medicine and I tried traditional Eastern medicine, and neither were able to help. I have a friend who was a Chinese herbalist by the name of Lak Hung, and he tried his best to help me And one day he told me that if nothing else was helping, then the only medicine left is with the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. Amitabha.
所以这样的情况持续1年多1年左右，我中医西医全都是完全无效。然后我一位佛友呢，黄清路，他有一天他是一个就是中医师，在治疗的时候跟我说，我试了各种不同的药方，各种的方式来治疗你，但是完全没有效果。到目前这种情况，只剩下佛菩萨。阿弥陀佛。
This struck me as having great principle, and I've known this ever since I met the Venerable Master over 50 years ago. But my understanding was that we should not seek for help for our own benefit. This is because it is our own karma to undergo. And it's said that to undergo suffering is to end suffering. For this reason, whatever worldly tests or mental states we live through, it's of our own making. And the real test is only to understand the causes which created the effects we're living through. Many people put up long life plaques to help themselves through difficult times. I didn't do this because I feel the difficulty is just an opportunity to practice patience and observe the mind. It's an opportunity to loosen our attachment to our illusory world and our illusory body. On the other hand, I thought we shouldn't be too attached to our own views. 阿弥陀佛。
所以呢，当他这样跟我一说呢，对我来讲算是当头棒喝。因为呢，我在50多年前认识上人，其实就是这样子的一个准则。其实呢，我们不是为了我们自己，因为像我们所遭受到这些所有的病痛、所有的痛苦，其实都是我们自己的业。吃苦就是了苦。为什么会有这些苦呢？其实都是我们自作自受。所以我们必须要去了解，我们必须要去承认，去认识它。所以呢，经过这些痛苦，就是我对我自己更能够去了解，我也有这个机会能够去练习我的耐心，我的忍辱，而且呢，可以去让我对这个世界、对这个身体的执着给减少。甚至于呢，我们不要对我们的知跟见这些见解呢如此的执着。阿弥陀佛。
Once you understand the thoughts or the behavior causing your predicament, then you have an opportunity to repent and reform. This is where the magic begins to happen. True repentance done with sincerity can wipe away years and lifetimes of suffering. I hope everyone will explore the power of this Dharma door. At this point, I had a thought that I can't depend on others to bring me back to health, and it wasn't up to me to restore my health. Looking deep within my mind, I finally resolved to take personal responsibility for who I am and what past causes planted the seeds of my current difficulty. Trying to avoid any seeking or self-interest, I asked the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to help me if there was any use in my staying in this world any longer. And if not, I accepted my fate. Amitabha.
像我们要去了解到所有的是什么样的因缘造成我们现在的这种果报，所以你要去了解这种因缘果报的道理。我们可以来忏跟悔，我们忏悔其愆，就悔其就是后来的业。像这样子的情况呢，我们只要一心虔诚的忏悔，我们都可以去把很多劫的业给转化掉。 所以到这种情况，我不能够再靠他人来帮助我，我必须要能够自觉，我自己来帮助我的身体能够复原，我重新的认识自己，完全对我自己负责任，不自私，不自利。我也对佛菩萨说，我如果这一生的生命还有用，那我当然就会再活过来。可是如果时间到了，该走了，我也不会有依恋。阿弥陀佛。
So several weeks went by after this. One morning I was sitting in meditation and I became aware of a golden ball of light which had enveloped my body. It was the most pure, compassionate, nurturing light I've ever experienced. This light pervades the cosmos. It has no limit. It was immeasurable and inexhaustible. And I was sitting in a bubble of this sublime, healing energy. It was life-affirming and the source of all life anywhere and everywhere. It was limitless light and limitless life. 阿弥陀佛。
在后来的好几周，我在打坐的时候，我忽然看到了，也感受到了一个像黄金色般的一个光球，就是罩住、包住我的整个身体。它这个光，这黄金色的光芒滋养着我的身体。它这个光的能量贯穿全宇宙，无限也无边。像这样子的一个这种治愈、治疗的这个能量，就把我的身体给恢复。像这样子一种治疗的一个能量，它也是普遍全众生。所以呢，这种感觉，我就感受到了真正的无量寿、无量光。阿弥陀佛。
So I understood that from this moment on, my body would begin to heal. In fact, less than 30 minutes later, the terrible pain I was experiencing quickly dissipated, and the bleeding disappeared within another 3 days. This was a very strange, yet just thus kind of experience. Extraordinary, and yet completely ordinary. 阿弥陀佛。
在当时，我就了解到，我的身体是可以复原的。在之后不到30分钟左右的时间，我身体的疼痛就已经消除了。我的内出血，就是我内部器官的出血的情况，在3天之后就停止了。像这样子的一种经历，你可以说是不可思议，但是其实又是非常的平常。阿弥陀佛。
I understand. Where was I? One of the contemplations I consider every day comes from the Vajra Sutra. The essence is no self, no suffering. In that sutra, the Buddha was speaking to Subhuti, and he said, to cultivate all good practices with no self, no others, no living beings, and no life is to attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. This is the great enlightenment we all hope for. 阿弥陀佛。
像我每天呢都会观想一些佛经的一些要义，像譬如像《金刚经》，《金刚经》有提到无我相、无人相、无众生相、无寿者相，这就是佛陀为须菩提尊者所开示的重点。阿弥陀佛。
Well, this was a pretty miraculous event, but the story doesn't stop there. after this extraordinary experience, I was overwhelmed with gratitude. And for many days and weeks, I hoped that my teacher, the Venerable Master, would somehow show me a way to repay the kindness of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas so that I could help to benefit living beings or somehow support the Buddha Dharma in this world. Amitofo.
像我经过这样子一个神妙的体验之后呢，是充满无限的感恩心。像这种无边无际的感恩心呢，持续了好几天，甚至于好几个礼拜。我问着上人，我如何呢要去报恩，报这种佛菩萨对我的慈悲的恩，我如何能够来帮助佛法继续注释？阿弥陀佛。
Well, the master has a very sincere disciple named Helen Wu, and she has helped the Buddha Dharma in many, many different ways. Started schools, started temples, just helped the Buddha Dharma immeasurably. One time, shortly after taking refuge in 1976, Helen went to Gold Mountain Monastery in San Francisco to pay her respects to the Venerable Master. As she entered the Buddha Hall, she felt her entire body being flooded with a healing warmth. Thinking her imagination must be playing tricks on her, she stepped out of the hall, only to find that the inner sensation of warmth had disappeared. Going deliberately back and forth several more times, she was at last convinced that every time she came into the presence of the Buddhas in the main hall, a healing warmth filled every fiber of her body, and she felt more comfortable and happy than she had ever felt in her life. Amitofo.
上人呢，有一位早期的老弟子呢，就吴果相Helen Wu，他呢是我们的大护法，他帮助我们建立学校，帮助我们建立道场，就是用他各种方法来帮助佛法。他呢在1976年皈依之后呢，在上人座下皈依，他有一天来到金山寺来探访上人。他当时踏进佛殿的时候，他全身有感受到这种温暖的、这种疗愈的这种能量。那这种的感觉感触呢，非常的强烈跟深刻。他不是很确定到底是怎么一回事，所以呢，他就离开佛殿到外面，然后让他的感觉散了以后，又回到里面，用一样的感觉，这种温暖的疗愈的这种能量。他这样来来回回好多次，他只是要确定他到底是感受到什么。当他感受到这种温暖的治愈的能量，他同时也感受到他很深的一种从未感受到的喜悦，这种法喜都完全没有经历过的。阿弥陀佛。
So one day, soon after my healing experience and prayer for the Venerable Master, Helen called me on the phone. She said, "Alan, Shifu asked me to call you. I think you're supposed to help me." I said, "This is just the way it is, Helen, because I've also been talking to Shifu, hoping to help him." So together we did a little project to support Dharma Realm Buddhist University together.
在一天之后呢，我感受到这样子一个温暖的治愈的光芒。就胡果相他隔天打电话给我，他跟我说呢， "Hey Alan， 果归，上人呢叫我打电话给你，然后看看你最近怎么样。然后因为我想说，就请你帮忙我们法界大学的一个小计划。然后果归居士呢就说，太好了，你打的正是时候，因为我也正在想 应该如何来做，如何来继续帮忙。所以我们2位呢，就合作了一个小计划，就帮忙法界大学的一项小计划，就把它完成。阿弥陀佛。
So this is the beauty of practicing the Buddha Dharma, illustrating what can be described as wonderful existence, the interpenetration of noumenon and phenomenon as spoken in the Avatamsaka Sutra. There is theory and there is practice, and without actually doing the work, without practice, there just can't be any response to the way. Amitabha.
像这样子，就是一种学佛学法的一种很珍贵美丽的一个经验跟体验，也就像是《华严经》所讲的圆融无碍的这种体验。我们修行呢，就是信跟解，就是要一起来修。阿弥陀佛。
So if you look into your own thoughts, which bring you grief, you'll probably find that they're structured on the view of self and others. Mostly they arise from our desire mind, from wanting something or someone to fill a void that's created by our view or identity with the self. If we cut off our view of the self, then you'll find that everything is okay. Everything is in accord with living beings' nature. With no self, no suffering. And this is kind of the end of my story. And I'm hoping that some people might have questions or comments or thoughts. And if not, I would like to continue talking about some of the patriarchs in the Avatamsaka school.
像因为我们的世心这种对我的这种执着的这些念头跟知见跟想法，其实就造成了我们所有的苦。所以当我们把这个对我的这种执着的所有的知跟见去除掉了之后呢，所有万事万物都完全没问题，一切都好。像这就是我们众生的本性，无我就无苦。所以我到现在就是把我自己的个人的经验跟诸位分享，然后我们还有一点点的时间，如果诸位有任何的问题，我们可以来一起讨论。那如果没有问题，我可以在以下的时间来跟诸位继续分享，就是我们华严宗的一些祖师的故事。阿弥陀佛。
And I have a couple of questions. But before that, I want to tell people that if they have questions, please type in the chat box, or you want to speak, raise your hand. 那大家如果有问题的话，请你打在那个聊天室，或者你要发言就请举手。The first question I have to Alan is, do you mind telling us what kind of project you and Alan did for the RPU?
Oh, there are some of the faculty for DRBU haven't had a decent place to live. They've had a hard time finding a residence in Ukiah. And Helen gave the university some apartments in the city of Ukiah, and she wanted to add some more apartments to that property. And me being an architect and having the ability to put drawings together to build housing, I was asked to help do this. So we did a nice plan for some new housing quite close to the Sudana Center in Ukiah. And as it turned out, it didn't make sense economically at this time. So the project got put on hold, but I put some effort into designing several new apartments for DRBU. And that was that project. And I always try to help DRBU and DRBA whenever I have an opportunity.
I'm sure your drawing will become a reality later, you know. So,
hopefully.
Yeah, I'm sure will. And then can you translate?
Okay. 刚才的问题是关于就是果归居士跟胡果酱居士他们两个就是替法界大学做的什么样的一个小计划。果归居士的回答呢，就是说我们法界大学的一些教职员其实要在这里当地呢找到一个适合的住所是非常困难很不容易的。所以胡果酱居士呢，他捐给法界大学就是一些就是公寓，一个公寓的一个大楼，然后他这块地呢就可以再加盖另外几户的公寓这样子一个建筑物。所以呢他就请我来帮忙画这些设计图，就建筑师的设计图，然后就可以再加盖更多一些房间。然后这个地点呢就是跟我们的善财童子参学中心很接近，就在离那里不远处。所以我们就花了一些时间跟精力，就把这些新的这个公寓的设计图呢就画完，就是帮助这个法界大学的这个计划。所以当然只要我有任何的机会，只要我可以，我都会尽全力帮助法界大学，帮助法界佛教会。阿弥陀佛。
There's a question from China. This type in Chinese. 如果精神有问题，工作不顺利，焦虑、紧张怎么办？ I think it said that if he has some mental problem and his work does not go his way and he's worried and nervous, what can he do?
Thank you for asking this question. The next speaker is going to talk about generosity. Anxiety, worry are terrible afflictions and difficult to endure. There are many tools that the Buddha gave us to alleviate this kind of suffering. And part of that is learning to give. If we benefit others, then this not only benefits ourselves, but it creates a kind of merit and virtue. And this merit and virtue can lessen our worries, our personal problems. Do you want to translate or should I keep going? I want to talk more about this.
像你提到这种忧虑、焦虑，当然是很痛苦，也没有办法承受得住。像下一位的演讲者，他的主题是讲布施。佛陀呢，有给我们很多的工具，来让我们能够解脱。像学习如何去布施，去帮助别人。像这样子呢，不是只是帮助我们自己，其实在帮助别人的过程之中，我们也就创造了很多的功德。当我们有了这些 功德福报的时候呢，其实可以帮助我们去减少或减缓我们的这些紧张、担心跟忧虑。阿弥陀佛。
So there's an old Buddhist saying, to endure suffering is to end suffering. I have been blessed with many difficult physical and mental problems. I think most living beings consider themselves to suffer a little bit. The Buddha said that we should recite the Buddha's name. And the goal of Buddhism is to get rid of our 10,000 thoughts and bring our minds to one point. If we can do that, that's the goal. If we can do that, then that subdues our problem mind, our difficult mind. And whatever our state in the world is, whether it's good fortune or bad fortune, whether we have many obstructions, this is all due to our own past actions. So we have to learn to change our attitude and our behavior. And a good way to do this is recite Guan Yin and give to our to the world around us. That can be you can benefit Buddhist temples, you can benefit Buddhist publishing efforts, you can you can donate to printing sutras. I don't know what kind of work you do, but you can volunteer in the community to help poor people or underprivileged people. All this is a way to put energy into others and do good for others. And this is how we can overcome our own obstructions and difficulties. So I don't know if this helps. If you have any more thoughts on this, please ask. Let me talk.
像佛陀呢，上人都讲过，吃苦就是了苦。那当然，我这辈子经过很多的痛苦，也有很幸运的能够接受到这种吃苦就是了苦的这样子的一个经过。那当然呢，不只是我们身体的痛苦，还有我们精神上面的痛苦，这都是苦。所以佛陀跟我们讲，就是要念佛。像我们修行佛法的目的，其实就是要把我们的妄念、杂乱纷飞的妄念减到剩一念，去净化我们这样这个心，去服我们这个妄念。因为这些妄念呢，就是我们的有问题的心，我们困难的心，所以借着念佛，把这个10000个念头减成一个念。所以不管我们是遇到好事、坏事、善跟恶，这些都是因为我们过去生所造的因，所以现在受到这个果。所以我们能做的就是要去改变我们的态度，改变我们的行为。譬如我们可以念观音菩萨，我们把观音菩萨的圣号跟整个世界分享，跟我们的周围的所有众生分享。当然我不知道你是做什么样的一个工作，像譬如说呢，你能够帮助你住附近的佛寺当义工，或是帮忙印经，甚至于你可以帮助一些穷人，一些非常困苦的人，帮助人做好事。像这样子的助人、帮助人都可以减少我们的痛苦。阿弥陀佛。
we have several other questions. So, and when you answer, please make it short so that
I'll shorten it.
You can answer as many people as possible. This is a good question, I think, for you. This, and we want to know the right way to request for great compassion water. You have very good experience with this.
Yes. I hope I can make a short answer. It's pretty easy. Put some water in a clean vessel, a cup, a glass, whatever, and bow 3 times to Guan Yin Bodhisattva and recite Great Compassion Mantra, the Dabe Jo, however many times you think it is necessary. When I did this, I recited it for 108 times every day, which takes somewhere between 2 and 2.5 hours. So you should leave as much time as you can to do this. And I put the glass of water on the altar, and I would kneel in front of the altar for that time that I was reciting the Dabe Jo. So many people walk around and recite the Dabe Jo, do other things, but really you should try and be single-minded about this and constantly be thinking about Guan Yin, and then you can give the water to anybody who's sick or ailing, and you will definitely have a response. Amitofo.
Aaron, can you translate?
我的方法就是把干净的水找一个干净的瓶子放在里面，然后有个盖子，然后我会跟观音菩萨磕3次头，然后之后呢，我会念大悲咒。当然就是念，看你尽你的力量，看你觉得几次就是足够。对我自己而言，我是念108次，108次大概会花大概2个小时到2个小时半左右的时间。但是你就是尽力而为，尽力而为。像我念的时候呢，是跪念，我是把大杯水放在佛桌上，然后跪在佛桌前跪着念。当然，我在跪念的时候呢，在我身后可能都会有人来人去，但是你不要受影响，你专心一念，做一个念头在观音上，然后你可以观想，就是这些大杯水可以帮助到这些病人。那这样子就会有感应。阿弥陀佛。
The next question is about cancer. You see, this cancer now is very popular. Lots of many people got cancer. So, do you have any experience that you can share with us when you deal with cancer?
Well, cancer is a very scary disease, and it affects many people in different ways. There's so many different kinds of cancer in different places in the body. And because I've been so fortunate to live with this for so many years, I've been able to consider causes and conditions. One thing I've learned is that everything is made from the mind. We create our own karma, and you can blame the environment, you can blame your eating habits, you can blame your many others, but really we need to take responsibility for our own actions and believe in cause and effect. So I think there are many people in this world who believe very deeply in the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the dharmas that the Buddha gave us. And if we dedicate ourselves really, really sincerely, dedicate ourselves to our practice, that there can be a response. I know many people, bhikshus, bhikshunis, upasikas, upasikas, that have passed away by cancer, and it's not for sure that what we seek we'll receive, but any practice for in our efforts to enter the way are beneficial. So if we recite the Buddha's name, recite a Bodhisattva's name, bow to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, make offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, this not only benefits us in this life, but it benefits us in next life. And we shouldn't be afraid of death. None of us get out of here alive. From Shakyamuni Buddha to the present day, we should all look forward to visiting with King Yama. He's our oldest friend. We've seen him so many times, and we should not be afraid of him, but welcome him. And so with a sincere heart, depending on our karma, perhaps we will see a response in our living with cancer. 阿弥陀佛。
像炎症呢，这种病痛呢，很让人恐惧，它影响到很多人，有很多不同的方式。当然我很幸运的，我就是跟炎症共存了这么多年。然后我自己最大的感受就是要相信因果，一切唯心造，所有都是我们自己所做的业，我们无法去怪环境，我们无法去怪别人，一切都是自己造成的，相信这个因，相信这个果。所以呢，我们很多人就是说，因为这样子来修佛法，那当然我们就是专心一念在各种修行的方式，像譬如说我们可以有念佛，我们可以磕头顶礼等等各种不同的修行方式，都是帮我们入道，都是能够帮助我们。像我也知道，甚至于我们的四众弟子也有因为就是炎症就癌症所往生的，所以我们并不要觉得害怕跟恐惧。像阎罗王，其实他们就是我们的老朋友，因为为什么？我们已经看过他太多次了，所以我们不要害怕他，我们其实欢迎他，有一个很真诚诚挚的心。所以根据我们不同的业，就有不同的结果。所以呢，我们就是可以用这种方式跟炎症就是和平共处。阿弥陀佛。
We're running out of time. Just the final question. Okay. And we want to know how the golden light affects you spiritually after it heals you physically. Just briefly, we have a couple minutes.
Yes, I wanted to speak about this, but I didn't want to take up so much time. After this golden light experience, it has changed not only my health, my physical health, but my mental health. I've been very much more clear about what my priorities are, and my cultivation has been improved. It's more sincere, more mindful of the power of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So it's been a great benefit to my own cultivation. Amitofo.
像这样子一个温暖的金黄色的光芒，它不只有治愈我的身体，它也治愈我的心。像我觉得我的心态都改变了，我重新知道什么才是最重要的，才是我的人生的重点。我变得更虔诚，更专心。我也深刻的感受到佛菩萨的这个力量。阿弥陀佛。
Well, it's wonderful, Ellen.
I just want to speak quickly to this Junmei Sun who's asking about laziness and vigor. Think about something that you've done that you've used great vigor and had success with it. That's the kind of vigor we need to use in our cultivation. And if you can do just one thing every day, it doesn't have to be a great thing, a small thing in your cultivation, whether you meditate, whether you bow, whether you recite, just do something every day, and soon you will develop a pattern that is consistent, and then you can start applying more and more vigor. That's it.
像我想回答有位居士问的，就是这种懒惰跟精进到底怎么回事？当然，你有这种大精进，当然你会就是修行呢就会有成果。可是呢，在我的建议就是说，你只要找一件修行的一个小事情，但是每天做，在你的每天的日常生活中，你每天都能够不断的做，经常性的做，不要断的做。像这种一个很小的一个修行的方式呢，因为你持续不间断的做，你慢慢就会有感应，从这个小事情慢慢的呢就可以把你带到另外一种修行的一种境界。阿弥陀佛。
Great, and we're running out of time. I hope we have more time for you. There's still some questions. We have to move on to the next section, and the moderator will be Quan Han. I'm not sure whether I say her name correctly. And Jose will be the speaker. So please go ahead. And Jose, you can turn on your camera.
Okay, good evening, everyone. This evening, Instilling Goodness Elementary and Developing Virtue Secondary Schools will begin the Resonance 2023 Speaker Series. So, in this series, IDGVS and CTTB teacher practitioners will be sharing their experiences of teaching and learning to inspire others to join the circle of giving with the spirits of Bodhisattva 6 perfections. So this evening we have Dr. Jose Vega. PhD was formerly a researcher working for the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab of United States, the University of Nagoya, Japan, and the Council of Scientific Research in Oviedo, Spain. He was also a Buddhist novice in monasteries of California and Canada. He has co-authored tens of papers and patents and received several literary awards in Spain. He has translated into Spanish the Shurangama Sutra, the Gandhavyuha Sutra, the Lotus Sutra, and the Six Patriarch Sutra, and is now translating the Vimalakirti Sutra. He currently serves as a science teacher, and the students Catherine and Shine will be translating for him today.
Do I speak now?
Not yet. I need some translation.
So who, Yong Fashi, do I translate or there will be someone
No,
else?
the girl student will translate.
Yeah, I heard that. Thank you,阿弥陀佛。
Someone had to Someone had to translate. What Quan just say?
Okay, if nobody translate, I can translate. 阿弥陀佛。有吗？有人在翻译吗？
快！ Maybe you can translate for me, thank you.
What?
Okay, let me translate just for now, and then later the translator can take on. Okay, 阿弥陀佛。所以再来呢的座谈会是由我们玉郎小学培德中学很多的教职员来跟诸位分享他们在这里教书修行的一些体验。 然后它的主题呢是照着六波罗蜜，照着这六波罗蜜的这个大方向呢，来跟诸位分享他们自己个人的心得。我们第一位的演讲者呢，是我们 Jose 博士。他呢拿到博士之后呢，也有在伯克莱大学做研究，也在日本。然后之前呢，他也当过沙弥，也修行了一段时间。他目前呢，有从事很多翻译的一些工作，也有翻像把入法戒品翻成就是西班牙文、六祖坛经等等，就翻译很多的一些佛教经典，把它翻成西班牙文。OK， 阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。I think the translators, Catherine and Shang, are having problem with their mic, but hopefully they can hear me and I won't cause them too much trouble translating. Okay, so yeah, my name is Jose Vega. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I would like to start like formally as if I were in a long time ago in the Buddha hall, like so Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master, Dharma Masters, Dharma friends. Good evening. Today is my time to share some reflections about what is to be a teacher here in CTTV.
就谢谢主持人刚才对我的介绍。然后好久没到佛殿了，所以我现在还是照我们的传统，就是诸佛菩萨、上人、诸位法师、诸位大众，阿弥陀佛，晚安。然后现在我想借着这个机会跟大家做我的分享，在我们玉兰培德教书的所有的经验。阿弥陀佛。
接下来女校学生会翻译，他们的麦克风已经好了。
OK， 阿弥陀佛。
Go ahead. Jose.
Okay, so I would like to start with two mentions. One is to my students, Shine and Catherine, who are volunteering today to do the translation. Catherine is actually my teacher assistant this year in AP Biology, and Shine is my student in AP Environmental Science. So they will do fine. Don't be nervous. It will be okay. If you cannot do, I think probably Alan will help. I don't hear anything.
We can't hear you, Shine and Catherine. Are you speaking?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Yes.
Is it good now?
Yes.
OK. 今天我先开始介绍我的两位学生，他们自愿做翻译，一位叫做 Shine， 一位叫做 Catherine。Catherine 是我在 AP 生物学方面的助教 ，Shine 是我在 AP 环境科学方面的学生。我相信他们今天会做得很好。
Wonderful. So the second mention is that today, February 26th, is my dad's birthday. He turned 80 today. He was a teacher. So, of course, now he's retired, but I would like to kind of connect his life as a teacher with my talk today a little bit.
我第二个想说的事情就是今天2月26号是我爸爸的生日，他今天已经80岁了。他曾经是一名教师，当然他现在已经退休了。但是我想将他作为一名教师的生活与我今天的演讲联系起
来。Both my parents are retired teachers of elementary and middle school. In a time in which in Spain, the conditions were very hard for teachers. They were living in a dictatorship and the salary was very low. So they kind of had to grow me in those rural schools in the mountains with very poor conditions. So my first memories are of me in a classroom with my mom and her students.
我的父母都是退休教师，是小学和中学的退休教师，在西班牙，老师的条件都非常的艰苦，然后呢，都生活在独裁统治下，工资也非常的低，所以我很难在山区那些条件非常差的乡村学校里成长。但是我的第一个记忆就是在我的教室里与我的妈妈还有她的学生。
So my topic today is generosity, and I thought about going through the arch of teachers in my life, expressing the generosity that I received from them, starting with my parents. We all have parents, and they are our first teachers in years very important in our lives. I want to acknowledge them not only as they were professionally teachers, but also as my teachers of life for me and my brothers.
我今天要讲的主题就是慷慨。我这生命中经历了许多老师，我也受到了他们很多慷慨。从我的父母开始，我们都有父母，他们是我们生命中最重要的老师，所以我们一定要感谢他们。他们不仅是老师，也是对我的父母来讲，他们不仅是老师，也是我和我的兄弟们的人生老师。
So the years went by, my parents moved to big cities, democracy came to Spain. I was in high school in classes that were very crowded in a very difficult environment. So we didn't give a good time to our teachers. Compared to city TV is so different. So now as a teacher myself, I can acknowledge how difficult it was to be a teacher in those conditions and the generosity I feel from them from doing their role.
时间过去了，我的父母都去了更大的城市。我在西班牙一个高中的学校里，在班级我们有很多人，然后环境也非常的困难。然后我们在学校并没有对老师非常的好，不像在 CTTB 的学生。但是现在做一位教师，我发现了当时做教师是有多么的困难，所以我现在非常的想要表达道歉。
So it was in high school that I was starting to ask about what is the purpose of life. At that time, I thought, okay, I go to university, I study maybe biology, but biology maybe it's too big, so I should study more into the core of the issue, studying chemistry. So I went to college to study chemistry, and I specialized in biochemistry.
高中的时候，我就开始问自己，人生的目的到底是什么？那时候我觉得好，那我就去大学学生物吧。但是就是生物这个题目比较大，所以我应该研究一些问题的科系，可能可以学到化学。所以我上大学学习化学，专攻生物化学。
And I'm moving very fast through my life, but the ending was I also went for PhD in environmental science, and I realized in my 30s that science was not going to give me the answers to that question when I was a teenager of what is life.
我现在在非常简洁的讲述我这一生的故事。就是结尾就是我在环境科学中获得了博士的学位，但是呢，我意识到科学是不会给我关于生活问题的答案。
So I got a postdoc to come to the Berkeley lab, and I thought, oh, maybe in America, these good universities, they can actually give me an answer. And then it didn't happen. I also tried in Japan because I thought, well, Japan is technologically very advanced, but the reality is I knew science is a wonderful subject, but it wouldn't give the final answers that we all need.
我有一个博士，来到伯克利实验室。我觉得也许在美国，这种有很好的大学可以给我一个答案，但这个答案没有出现。我在日本也试过，因为我觉得他们就是技术先进，但是我还是没有遇到答案。虽然我认为科学这个题目真的非常好，但是它不会给出来最终的答案。
And then is when I encountered the Dharma here in Berkeley, where I am talking now, and that changed my life. I realized that Dharma was giving me the answers that science couldn't provide. And so I reoriented my life towards less science and more Dharma till finally I completely quit my scientific career.
我在伯克利的时候呢，遇到了一位法师，然后那个就改变了我的生活。我意识到佛法，它给了我科学当中是无法提供的答案。后来我重新安排了我的生活，少了一点科学，多了一点佛法，直到最后我退出了科学事业。
So I didn't have the fortune to meet teachers like Venerable Master Hua, but through his organization and the sutras lectures, I start to understand how important are teachers, and especially teachers of Dharma like him.
当时我没有幸遇到像宣化上这么好的老师，但是通过他的组织和讲经，我开始明白老师的重要性，尤其是可以教给我这种佛法的老师。
So at that time, I had many teachers of Dharma here in Berkeley, in CTTV, some monastics, some lay people, and through them my life opened. I realized that science was wonderful for what it was, but the final questions of what is the purpose of life, or what are we doing here, was perfectly answered or complemented by the Dharma and the generosity of Dharma teachers.
那时我在伯克利，和 CTTB 有很多佛法老师，有的是法师，有的是居士。所以后来我发现我的生活就像打开了一个新世界的大门。我意识到科学是伟大的，但是关于生命目的的最后问题，还是我从佛法和慷慨那里得到了完美的解释。
So to the point that I even left home, and I was a novice for almost 4 years. I didn't fully ordain after, but my appreciation for the role of the Sangha in preserving these teachings was even bigger than it was before, because now I knew from firsthand how important it is to preserve these teachings and to pass them into the future generations.
我这样一直研究佛法，直到我离开家当了将近4年的沙弥。当时我并没有完全出家，但是我对僧家在保存这些教义中所起的作用的感激比以前更大，因为现在我亲身体验了它的重要性，然后为什么就是把这个佛法传下来是多么重要的一件事情。
他出了家当个沙弥，但是没有受具足戒，没有当比丘。
Yeah, I was a novice. I never fully ordained. Yes, but it didn't work out for me. So I returned to lay life. And for many years back in Spain, I tried to be a writer, but it also was not like what I had in mind for a living. So I kept on translating, and that was probably what kept me anchored into the Dharma, using the sutras as my teachers when there was no Sangha in Spain. Yeah.
我发现我出家之后呢，其实还是对我来说没有很大的帮助，所以呢，我还尝试了做一位作家，但是我发现这也并不是我想要的谋生方式，然后我就开始了无休止的翻译，这可能就是让我在佛法中扎根的原因。因为在西班牙也没有很多的翻译佛经，所以我就开始为西班牙翻译成西班牙语。
So we arrived to 2016 in a second phase, so to speak, of me in the RBA in a very different role as still translating for sure, but also volunteering as a teacher and eventually teaching like a job. This has been since 2016, so almost 7 years.
我这个时候我仍然翻译，但是我也自愿当老师，最终作为工作教师，这是从2016年开始的，所以到现在已经差不多7年了。
So they asked to Alan Nicholson about life, what to do, or something like that, and I don't remember now exactly how, but when you find that generosity is the answer to many of the purpose of life, and I found that giving teachings, I find like a purpose in my life that I was lacking on almost all those previous times. And it's not only that the giving comes from the teacher to the students, also the students give us. It's very, very interesting. I will talk about this in the last minute.
当我发现慷慨其实是可以解决生活中许多问题，我发现给予和教导就是我生命中的目的，而我这过去的几年里都一直有缺乏。然后我也发现了，不仅老师有给予给学生，学生也有给予，我觉得这非常有趣，我会在接下来的几分钟里细讲。
Educating especially the young people gives me, and I think many teachers, hope for the world. We read the news about pandemics and climate change and wars, and then you realize this is not going very well. But then when you actually are with these young minds and you see the goodness that they have, they give you hope. My hope for this planet comes from these new generations. I think my generation, we didn't do very well in this past 20th century and this one, but I can see like something very good in these new generations that give me hope. So my goal as a teacher is to kind of nourish that goodness and pass the things that we have learned and may help them to fix this troubled world.
教育年轻人给了我和许多其他的老师，就是给了我们对世界的希望。当我们在新闻里读到有什么疫情啊，气候变化和战争的新闻时，我会意识到，就是这种东西不是好事。但当我真正运用我的思想时，我会看到在我的学生里很多好处，然后并给我很多希望。我对这个地球的希望，来自新一代。我认为我们这一代在20世纪表现的不太好，但是我教育这些学生的时候，我可以意识到他们其实有很多他们给了我很多希望，所以我作为老师的目标是滋养这种善良，并传以我所学的这些东西，来帮助他们把这个世界变得更好。
I see this planet like or this world like a school. We all come here to learn, and it's as if instead of respecting the books and the tables and the blackboards, we're just burning everything and destroying everything. It's really sad to see what we're doing with nature and with so many things among ourselves, destroying this wonderful place that we come to share for a little bit. And all our goal would be, at least if we don't make it better, at least not to destroy it or to abuse it. And that's probably the main message I give in my classes within the subject in itself. I hope to instill in the students the respect for life in any form, how important it is to live a life of respect for what we have.
在我看来，这个世界就像一所学校，我们所有人都来到这里学习，但是呢，我们反而不尊重书籍、桌子以及篮板，我们烧毁一切。看到我们对大自然所做的这一切，我发现人们都只想到自己，但是毁了这个美好的地方，这个真的非常可悲。我觉得至少我们不能让它变得更好，但是我们也不能去破坏和滥用它们。这也是我在我的所有课堂上对我所有学生传达的主要信息。我希望向学生去灌输对生命的尊重，这种尊重，我们所拥有的生活是很重要的。
So it's less than 2 minutes from my clock. I would like to finish with a reflection on, as an example of generosity, these 2 girls translating for me today, doing such a wonderful job. Like, I'm sure they would maybe prefer doing something else, but they're generous to offer their skills, and I'm sure they did a great job. Thank you, Shine, Catherine.
我还有2分钟的时间，我想以一个慷慨的例子作为结束。这些是我今天有2位学生 Catherine 和 Shine 帮助我翻译，我相信他们一定想用现在的时间做其他事情，但是我非常非常感谢他们今天可以给我翻译。
Okay, so thank you everyone, and Dharma Master, thank you, Amitofo.
谢谢大家，所有的法师，所有来到这一个 meeting 这个会议的人，感谢聆听。
We have time for 1 or 2 questions. Do you want to take any questions?
Sure, yes.
Okay. So if you have questions, please type in the chat. We have time for 1 question. 你有什么问题的话，请打在那个聊天室。大概只剩下1分钟的时间。 I don't see the question yet.
Okay.
Okay. So if no questions, we'll thank Dr. Jose Vega and Shine and Kessen's translation. Also, we thank Ellen Nicholson and Ellen Huang's translation. So we'll dedicate merit, and Ellen Huang will lead us to dedicate merit. I should share my screen. Ellen, please go ahead.
May the Mary from this practice adorn all the Buddha's lands, repay the kindness from above, and rescue those in paths below. May all who see or hear this resolve upon awakening, and when this body meets its end, be born together in the land of bliss.
And say head bounce. In respect to the Venerable Master. Next Sunday, Reverend Hensher will come back to explain the 10 transference chapter. 那下礼拜天，释法师会继续讲华严经的十回向篇。And we also have a teacher, Tao, is going to share with us about precepts. 另外就是 Tao， 他也是一个老师，他会跟我们分享关于持戒方面。So thank everyone's participation and good night to all of you. 阿弥陀佛，谢谢大家的参与。大家晚安，或者是白天。阿弥陀佛。